let's move on to something which, well, personally, I think is a lot better. Can You Ever Forgive Me? And Drew?
No.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yes. An abrasive, misanthropic criminal who is far more interested in cats than other humans is perhaps not the most obviously compelling central character of a drama, or a comedy drama even. Nor would Melissa McCarthy be the first name most would think of to play such a role. Yet here McCarthy is. Based on the memoir of the same name, Can You Ever Forgive Me is the tale of New York writer Lee Israel McCarthy, a once popular writer of biographies whose latest novel is consigned to the discount piles and who is struggling to both write and to make ends meet, but doing just fine at the whole alienating the entire human race thing. A chance discovery in an archive of an unknown letter written by the subject of her current book leads to Lee pocketing the document and selling it at a local bookshop. While this act may have been driven by desperation and worry over her ill cat, the one other sentient being she seems to have any compassion for or interest in, we have already been shown that she's not above the pettiest of theft. Really, petty. Toilet rolls. Okay. Strange woman. And she's soon running a cottage industry in forged artefacts from literary figures like Dorothy Parker and Noel Coward, using antique typewriters, headed notepaper and hot ovens to add a touch of authenticity. As doubts begin to mount about the veracity of her wares and words get around about her, Lee steps up to planned thefts to obtain genuine documents, while also enlisting the help of her recent acquaintance and almost certainly only friend, Jack Cock. Jack Cock, Big Cock, as he charmingly introduces himself, to help her peddle her creations. Jack, played by Richard E. Grant, is a charismatic drunk who, if not living on the streets, is certainly couch surfing at best, and who seems to support himself with small-time drug dealing, and who angers Lee by not fully appreciating the skill she is displaying in making fake letters from dead celebrities to scam people out of money. Truly, artists are not appreciated in their own lifetimes. However, while there are no victimless crimes, we're not talking about violence here, or the sort of fraud that can bring down companies and truly affect lives, nor is it fakery on the level of, say, the Hitler Diaries. And so with such low stakes, it's much easier to feel sympathy for Lee, even if she herself resists and probably would resent it, and to appreciate the tension and worry as the FBI begin to investigate. Melissa McCarthy is great here, her performance a world away from the comedy roles, both good, Spy, and Unbearable, The Boss, with which she made her name, but her comic acting skills underpin the irascible and sharply cutting author whose persona bears more than a little resemblance to Dorothy Parker, whose literary voice she of course tried to mimic. She also gives a large helping of the pathos and loneliness which she has displayed a handful of times before, present even in her breakthrough role in the comedy Bridesmaids. Nicole Holofcener?
I struggled with that as well, yeah.
I had kind of a handle on that. Nicole Holofcener and Jeff Whitty's script no doubt helps, but it takes a substantial heap of talent to make such an infuriating character endearing, tragic and sympathetic, while she works so hard at preventing you from feeling those things. McCarthy's co-star, Richard E. Grant, has received much acclaim for this film, and many comparisons have been made to his legendary turn in With Nail and I, and in particular his ability to play drunk, a nifty feat for a teetotaler who's allergic to alcohol. These comparisons are hyperbolic, of course. Indeed, how could they be otherwise? Withnail owned the screen. Here Jack is, necessarily, second fiddle to McCarthy's Israel, but it is still a great performance and probably the best turn I've seen from him in years. The scenes between these two lonely, damaged misfits are hugely enjoyable, touching and often funny, and there's an easiness and warmth between them that holds your attention even when the film is crying out for a little more substance. It's this lack of substance that keeps Can You Ever Forgive Me from being great, but Marielle Heller's film is still a very rewarding watch. It's not that there's no substance, it's just that more would be preferable. There's unspoken acknowledgement between Lee and Jack that their lives are unfulfilled and that their loneliness and situation has been brought about by their own choices and also, though not always willingly, by their sexualities. And a deeper character study of each of these personalities would have been welcome. A final word of praise for the film's 1991 New York City setting, an aesthetic so well realised and authentic that it almost seems effortless, and therefore no doubt was quite the opposite. Can You Ever Forgive Me is a low-key heist movie about people who don't know how to be with or around people and the paper-thin facade we create to protect ourselves, and is funny, tragic and absolutely to be seen.
Yeah, I would largely echo what you've said, Drew. I think perhaps I maybe enjoyed it maybe a little bit more than yourself. I really appreciated the fact that the film is so low key. I think the way that Heller handles it, there would be a tendency among some directors to amp up certain aspects of a story like this, or to conflate certain characteristics of the main players and feel the need to hold the audience's hand through some of the more elusive plot points. But Marielle Heller, this is only her second feature film, I think, with a couple of episodes of TV stuff. I think Orange is the New Black or something like that in between.
Yeah, she's certainly not. It doesn't seem from this that she's as inexperienced as she is.
Yeah, there's a certain confidence about the way that she lets her players sort of just handle the material. She obviously appreciates the chemistry between the two leads. There's nothing flashy going on behind the camera, and likewise you mentioned the script, Drew, as well, and I think it's a pretty rare beast that places faith in both its cast and its audience, and it dispenses almost entirely with exposition in favour of a little thing that we used to know as storytelling,
and also isn't afraid to have some scenes of just people sitting chatting, which I love, but is quite rare.
Yeah, and what a job McCarthy does as well. I think Lee Israel is basically an analogue for McCarthy in the sense that I think we were talking about it just before we started recording, that very much in spite of her stock in trades loudmouth smartass routine that I mentioned, especially in Happy Time Murders, was showing signs of running on fumes at this point. In very much the same way, McCarthy somehow manages to evoke a real measure of empathy for Lee, despite the fact that she appears by her actions and manners to be a largely irredeemable arse ratchet for most of the film. And likewise, Hugh Grant, as you touched on the fact, and again, a lot of people have made this comparison. Richard E. Grant, sorry. He's essentially a dialed down Withnail, and he's also somehow evoked sympathy despite coming across on paper as pretty much equally worthy of contempt through his actions and occasionally inaction. And I actually think it's really refreshing to see the recognition this has had through awards season, because it's not the kind of template issue movie that normally generates that kind of pool. See, for example, the last episode we spoke about, Green Book. And nor are the performances overtly dramatic. It just kind of quietly plies its trade without making much of a fuss.
Very subtle.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where Heller goes next, because what this does for the kind of material we see being offered to both the leads, on the world-weary evidence of Happy Time Murders, McCarthy could do with a shot in the arm. And I think, as a Brit, I suspect a lot of my country people will feel that Richard E. Grant has always kind of been massively underappreciated. Not least of all, I mean, it's a bit of a joke he was never nominated for Hudson Hawk, people. But this is just a really good film that just plies its craft really quietly, and I liked it far more than I expected. And I think also the one takeaway from this is I was quite startled, as I suspect a lot of people were at the time, or as I've certainly read after watching the movie, a lot of people were startled to find out just how little research goes into provenance in the world of the market of celebrity correspondence.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that watched that. I'm thinking, is this like accurate to what happened? Because almost nobody questions anything. The most they go to is it real? Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, that seems entirely fine then. Let's go with that.
and by all accounts, that is absolutely how that market certainly used to work. I don't know whether it does now in the wake of this scandal, but...
And people have been making, like, copies of old masters and stuff since, like, the old masters weren't old, they were new.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how this, in such a expensive business, could have gone on for so long. We're not talking... like maybe 1850s when settlers less technology to. It's 1991 in the richest city in the world. How?
One can extrapolate from that there certainly have to be a lot more stories like Lee's that haven't been told. But, because I can't imagine where there's that much money to be made that easily that other people have not played that system significantly.
But then, like, this isn't that long after the Hitler Diaries, is it? And they mention it in this film, and it's one of the most famous fakes of all time. So even the characters in this film are aware of it, of what a big deal that was, and it took quite a while to get that proven to be fake. And then but this letter's obviously real. That'll do.
Oh yeah, it sounds like the sort of thing Noel Coward would have said. How does $700 sound?
It has the ring of truthiness to it, and that's apparently all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree entirely. I thought it was really good. I even liked it more than both of you guys. I came to it pretty much entirely cold, apart from when it was mentioned the other day that it was getting some good rewards, but I was absolutely blown away by most of it. One thing, I'm not sure if you'd went into a deeper character study on either the leads, or either of McCarthy or Grant's character, would have actually made it a better film. I thought they did a tremendous job of getting a lot of character across just by the empty spaces and the looks and the glances. I thought it was a really great performance from both of them that brought a lot of character to it, that said a lot of things without having it being explicit. But I felt I really did get a really great sense of these characters, and that's why I enjoyed their performances so much.
I wouldn't like you to think I didn't. I don't know if they both seem to have the idea that I didn't like it as much as you.
Now, Drew.
I thought it was truly excellent. Just because I found the characters so interesting, and I don't disagree with anything you said, Scott, that there's a lot of the nuance and subtlety that they have brought so much to the characters. I was so interested in the characters, I just wanted more. That was all. And I think you said, Craig, that you could sort of lay that on too thick and have too much exposition and things, and I certainly wouldn't want that. I found the characters so fascinating. I want to know a bit more about them.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have that, because maybe it would make it worse. But no, I think it's great.
There's only one character note that I remember being pretty much on the nose throughout the entire film, and it's the point near the start at which Lee's agent tells her, what your problem is, that you should actually try being nice, Lee. Stop. You should just stop being an asshole. And I think
be an asshole when you're famous.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the only point at which anyone makes an overt reference to sort of to one of the main character. And the rest of the film, it's just entirely told through action, and I really appreciated that. I don't think I realised how absent that kind of confidence in character tends to be generally these days, how much stuff tends to be signposted and spoon-fed. I know we mention it quite a bit, but I think it takes something like this to really stand out in relief against that stuff, to make you appreciate, actually quite what a job that McCarthy and Grant do here, with relatively low-key performances, but very, very, very assured. And yeah, it kind of surprises me that this is on the awards radar. I think it definitely deserves to be. I'm just kind of surprised that it is, because it doesn't stand up and shout, "Look at me over here, I've got something worthy to say," in the way that sort of tends to attract that attention.
Apparently Richard E. Grant has been quite the revelation in the United States, because apparently very few people there have seen Withnail, and I really get that sorted now, you crazy fools.
Oh my god, throw yourselves in the road, you don't stand a chance. That's what I mean. I think a lot of people over here are like, oh god, someone give Richard E. Grant some good material. He's clearly worth it. And so, well, it's nice to see that, and now that he's in his 60s, they're doing that thing of throwing him a lifeline. I'm amazing that he's never been really awards nominated for anything major in the States before. But there you go. I'd really look forward to seeing what he's going to get offered now, and McCarthy, but particularly Richard E. Grant. It would be nice for him to have the sort of renaissance he so clearly deserves off the back of this, and one would imagine his agent's phone has been ringing off the dial for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what they both do next. So I'm hoping that, I know Richard E. Grant can act because of Withnail and I, but that's a long time ago, and he's very much, the things I've seen him in since then have tended to be supporting roles at best. I'd like
Logan.
to get another.
I'd completely forgotten he was in Logan until I looked at his IMDb profile again the other day. Yeah,
he's kind of wasted in Logan. Actually, it's one of the few things that's not so great about that. Well, he's bad. It's just, it's not a massively interesting character, and that kind of role was played much more interestingly by Brian Cox in X-Men 2. So
yeah.
But yeah, to see him get a proper leading role, something he could really get his teeth into, and Melissa McCarthy doing more of this sort of thing, because clearly she's got the chops for it. And she's done some straight stuff before.
Well, she comes from a stage background, doesn't she?
I think so, yeah. I mean, she's done some straight in St. Vincent, which is not great, but entertaining enough. It's kind of like a comedy version of Gran Torino without the hideous racism, with Bill Murray instead of Clint Eastwood, and she's got more of a straight role in that, and she's passable enough, but this is much more interesting.
Do you know what I want to see? I want to see Stephanie Germanotta and Melissa McCarthy in a Ken Loach movie.
With a megalodon. If Ken Loach taking a particularly strange turn.
with Statham. My God. Oh dear.
The Megalodon divides among the survivors.
Oh dear. There you go.
Megalodon goes to an art show as well. Unexpected pictures.
Unexpected anatomical representations.